Kolbrin Bible, Book 4, The Sons of Fire, Chapter 8, The Scrolls of Record, 2, SOF 8-1. Lathan, captain of men of valor, victorious over the sons of the new moon and guardian of the hidden wisdom, maker of roads in the Redlands and builder of the secret fort, by Abisabol, once scribe of the god Aloa in Ladosa, keeper of records in the new temple to his fathers in wisdom, at the temple of Ezwar. Greetings, may you live long on earth in prosperity, peace, and health, and depart in knowledge. SOF 8-2. We left the good land hearts heavy laden with grief. The ships were 5, and I looked to mine and found it good. It was built of Elan wood and stout-masted all about it, and casks were lashed along the planking. The cords that moved were free, but all clear spaces were filled with things wrapped about and bound. There was much leather for the sails and leathern scoops. There were 60 of large buckets of wood, hooped about and handled with plaited leather. Between the eyes of the ship the guide pole was raised, beneath which were stored all kinds of unusual things made of wood and cordage, used by men of the sea. There was a machine for slinging stones and another for hurling fire. There were high shield guards which could be strapped to the side. A store contained every kind of weapon and much armor. There were pots for cooking and braziers. SOF 8-3. There was a store behind the mast, and in it were over 50 jars of oil, and not less of wine and vinegar, casks of food. There were, and more, stored in baskets. Many large pitchers were lashed about, and dried meat stored in cloth, dried dates and figs and small fruits. There were in large quantities. Water was not lacking, nor the dishes for eating. There were nets for fishing and hooks for catching birds. SOF 8-4. The chief among the men of the sea was skilled in the notched stick called Thumb of the Night, which guided him across the widths of the sea. We brought about against Keftor, where Nabam departed, for they were troublesome. Men of Melkat came who had been wrecked, and we took a score, who were men of valor. We passed many lands by the sea, where once broad sea-girt Posedma reigned, before blown apart by underworld fires, by the lands of Hagarum. We went over this wide sea to the gate of Athesian, and beyond it across the sea of Tapium. SOF 8-5. 1 ship and 40 men, and the households of 6 men were lost on the way. 3 ships have I left, with 1 brought up on the land. 12 men have I lost in battle, and 10 have gone with sickness. There are with me 200 fighting men, 110 men of skill, and 100 bondsmen, 60 households with their cattle and sheep, and corn and tools and wagons. Athesian things with us are numbered, and the tally grows daily. SOF 8-6. The encampment is well made and encircled with a wall, where water does not lie. Trees and soil are the material of its construction. Great trees are about us, but no stone for building, for the soil is deep. The waters rise not over the fields where men have cut water passages, but there is much rain. SOF 8-7. Wild men are in the land, who write on their skins. They are hairy ones, whose gods are the plants of the field. Their quarters are like baskets over the ground, and they are unwashed. The women are like hellcats, uttering wild cries among the trees, but the men are quiet and come in silence. SOF 8-8. They have temples of poles, roofed over in part, and encircled by great logs, with logs laid over. Skins and painted leather are hung about, but no cloth. They place plants on altars, that their high gods may consume the essence of life within them, and draw it back into themselves. SOF 8-9. Virgins they keep in cages. Why, I know not. But the women in cages are virgins, and well cared for. Is virginity uncaged like a hound unleashed? SOF 8-10. The wild men are unlearned and without soft speech. They are cousins to the wild dog, yet with children they are gentle. The children of Fakol, the stoneworker, were lost among the trees, and wild beasts beset them at night. The wild men found them there and carried them away and fed them. Then came the search band of men of valor upon the place, and the children, seeing them, ran away from the wild men. The men of valor slew the wild men, thinking they had taken the children, for they knew not their speech. Since then we have seen their ways. SOF 811. 110 of the wild people we have as bondsmen and bondswomen. The men work with the soil and wood about the encampment. The wall I caused to be built out into the water, and it encloses a pier across the bank where ships can moor. SOF 812. Within the wall and circle of water I have built a temple, but not all go in there with me. We are not one people. The gates of the temple are on the pillars of wood and turn on a stone, and wooden are the pillars within. Great beams support the roof, and the walls are of wood and mud, brick. The floor is of the sand finely raked, and before the air the altar rests on stones. There are no images designed to confuse men, for though the temple is poor, it does not enshrine ignorance. We have no evil men with us. There are men of valor and men of skill, men of the land and men of the sea. No more. SOF 813. Beneath the altar is the grave of life, kept dry with mortar. In its place is the great chest of mysteries, and in the urns of life are the records. Well kept they are, and safe from the unlearned, all the records of the eastern quarter. SOF 814. Thus all things have been done according to your divining, and it is good. SOF 815. Between that just copied and that which follows, there was a full plate, but the writing upon it was ineffective. SOF 816. In the land at the edge of the earth, there is little sun, and the people grow sick with water. The dampness causes a sickness among us, where the teeth become loose in the gums, and skin peels. Flesh puffs up and holds the marks of fingers. SOF 817. The people of the land beset us, and we cannot find them among the trees. Lathan was slain with 12 men of valor, 3 days' journey inland. Among the trees he died in the night. 2 men were caught by the wild men, who burnt them in cages. SOF 818. Men have come in ships from the land of the sons of fire, who are brothers. Alman the scribe and Korah the builder came. Hoskiah, who is the man mighty in battle, having gone from us, brought them here by Kedaris. SOF 819. Of the sons of fire there are 400, but few are fighting men. They are not men of valor. They are men of the sea and cultivators, and men who trade. There are builders among them, and men skilled in the ways of wood and stone, for they came to establish a city in this place. SOF 820. This, the kingdom of the trees, is no place for a city. Trees shut us in and hold us captive. They conceal those who lie in wait to do us harm. A house is built, and trees take over the roof, and plants creep over the walls. Corn is planted and rots, while weeds smother others growing food. Grayness is everywhere. Even the face of the sun is pale here. SOF 821. Men shiver without heat, and the air is not pure and mixed with water. Wild dogs lurk among the trees, to tear the unwary to pieces. There are few stones, and they are covered with slime. The wild fruits and herbs are poisonous, and men have died eating them. The wild men in this place eat their own children, and anoint their bodies with the fat of the dead. There is a race of men with great hairy bodies, and the heads of dogs, who carry children off to feast on them. Arutha, wife of Amorah, died in the embrace of one. They have hides that no arrow can pierce. SOF 822. The book of heaven is open to the sons of fire. In it they found the road across the waters. They are filled with the wisdom of wanderers, As we came by the sea in the hands of seafarers, so shall we go out. We long for the welcome omens of the shining arrows of the night. Our people are weary, and there is muttering among the men of valor, for they fear the spirit of the trees. His breath surrounds us. His gray fingernails corrupt our possessions. He has caused our cattle to die, and our crops to wither. Against him we are powerless. He was robbed of this land, hewn out from among the trees. He will never forget. SOF 823. The great secrets and sacred wisdom are secured for our children. We place them and ourselves in the hands of the sons of fire. We shall leave this place and sail towards Hera, towards the west, where lies the land of white stone, where we may build with stone brick. SOF 824. Here is the tally of our departure. Of those who came with Lathan, 90 men of valor in the households of 35. There are 70 men of valor who came later, and those of the sons of fire. 82 men of skill in 8 households newly formed. There are the men of valor who came with Hoskiah, and the households among them. There are 9 households which came later. SOF 825. There are 240 bondsmen of these. 110 carry slings and clubs. Some have fighting axes of stone and staves shod with metal, but there is no sharpened weapons among them. SOF 826. 104 among all the households are children and unmarried women, for many have died of the sickness belonging to this place. There are slaves, but most have died or perished among the trees. SOF 827. The cattle are gone, and there are a few sheep and goats. There are for each man of valor 2 measures of corn at morning, and for others 1 measure. Of corn there are 60 great baskets of herbs dried by fire, 45 ankram. There is fish fried by fire, and some meat. SOF 828. There are 110 baskets of cupped nuts, which are bitter and go sour. The men of the trees eat them, and for such people it is proper food. There are narad nuts, which grow in this place, sweet but not stomach-filling, and nuts which are good for cakes in quantities. SOF 829. There is much weapon, metal melted down, and gold and silver in pieces. There are all kinds of tools for the men of skill, and much pottery in the households. But much has gone to the men of the trees, and of cloth there is little, and men are clothed in skins and the woven fiber of plants. SOF 830. The harbor of sorrow we leave behind, and with 4 ships sail towards the sun setting. 1 ship goes to the land of the sons of fire. Spirit of Lathan, remain among us as we go far away among men who are strangers to us.